All right, so this evening we'll be doing our peak pose to move us towards crow. So we'll start coming to lie on our backs when you're ready. Lying on your back, bring the soles of your feet together in a supine Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. Turn your palms up to face the ceiling, resting your arms to your sides. Gently sliding your shoulder blades down underneath your back. Make sure there's no tension or discomfort in your neck. Take a few moments to settle and then close your eyes and bring your awareness down to your breath. Maybe slightly longer inhalations, slightly deeper exhalations. Just using this time to check into how you're feeling this evening. Check into how your body is feeling. And take a few moments to ground here and relax. Bringing all your awareness down here to your mat, to your body, to your breath. Becoming completely present here now in this moment. As we gently bring the knees together and hug both knees into your chest, wrapping your hands around your shins, giving yourself a nice deep hug. You might want to do a little rock from side to side, massaging your lower back into the mat. And then holding on to the tops of your knees, right hand on right knee, left hand on left knee. Draw the knees apart using your hands and then drawing circles around, feeling those hip circles warming up into the hips. As we warm up our external rotators to move us into Bakasana crow pose. And then when you're ready, change direction and circle the knees back in the other direction. Gently warming up the hips. Keep your breath flowing. Your neck and shoulders relaxed. Bringing the knees together. And then taking hold of the outer edges of your feet to draw the legs into happy baby pose. Bringing the knees to the sides of your ribs. Bringing the shins up so your shins are pointing straight up towards the ceiling. And relaxing the shoulders back onto the mat. If you'd like to take a little rock here from side to side. Or maybe just still in your happy baby, find a gentle stretch into the inner thighs and groins. Coming back to center, keep holding your right foot as you place your left sole of foot onto the mat. And then increase your stretch on the right, bring in the right knee a bit deeper into your happy baby pose. Moving into our supine pigeon, take hold of your right foot with your left hand. Guide your right shin across towards the left so that your shin is lying over the chest. And then with your right hand, just gently press the right thigh outwards to increase that stretch into the hip. Taking a few breaths here, maybe allowing for a little bit of movement in the hip, or maybe just being still, holding in that stretch, and breathe. Take hold of the right foot with the right hand once again. Come back to happy baby. Feeling the stretch through the inner leg. And once again, holding your right foot with your left hand, moving across into a lying down pigeon pose. Feeling the stretch more now through the outer thigh. Float your left leg up so that your right ankle connects to the top of your left thigh. Come into a figure four stretch. Taking hold of the back of the left thigh or left shin. Making sure that your shoulders are still relaxed back on the mat. Finding a nice big stretch into the right hip and taking a few deep breaths here. Keeping your legs in figure four, bring your arms out to the sides or into cactus and twist towards the left, bringing the right sole of foot to come to touch the ground on the left side of your mat. Keep pressing your right knee up towards the ceiling, keeping that opening in the hip. Relax into the twist. Maybe you want to turn your gaze towards your right arm. Gently we bring the legs back to center and back into happy baby pose, holding out to edges of the feet, maybe a little rock from side to side. This time we keep hold of the left foot, grounding the right sole of foot onto the mat. Increase the stretch of your happy baby on the left. Feel that opening into the hip. When you're ready, right hand takes hold of that left foot, guide your shin across your body into your lying down pigeon pose. Pressing that left thigh out gently with your left hand to increase the stretch. Take a few breaths here with a little bit of movement or just holding and breathing in the stretch. Moving back to happy baby, holding onto the outer edge of the left foot. Left leg into a single leg happy baby. Take a breath here. And last time, right hand holds the left foot, lying down pigeon pose. We bring the right thigh up to connect with the left ankle. Find your figure four stretch, taking hold of the back of the right thigh or shin. Resting the shoulders and neck back onto the mat. Feeling a nice deep stretch into that left hip. Take a few breaths here. And placing the arms out to the sides. Gentle twist over towards the right, grounding the left foot on the side of the mat. Gently pressing the left knee up towards the ceiling, keeping the opening in the hip. Relaxing into the twist, option to turn your gaze to the left. Gently we bring the legs back through center and back into your happy baby pose. From here we take Gomukhasana legs, cow face legs, crossing right thigh over the left thigh, bending the knees and taking hold of either your ankles, your heels, or maybe your shins. And lying the head back to relax the neck and shoulders. I like to hold with an undergrip, so palms facing up to the ceiling, and then holding the back of the legs, just to help keep the shoulders relaxed. Maybe finding a nice deep stretch into the hips. Keeping the legs crossed, we'll take our eagle arm, so cross your left elbow on top of your right. Wrap the forearms and the palms to touch. Taking a breath in, and then curling your head up to squeeze your knees and elbows towards one another. Inhale, open knees and elbows apart. Exhale, curl through the shoulders, lift through the chest, squeezing knees and elbows tight. Inhale as we open. Exhale to crunch. Inhale as we open. Exhale to crunch. Holding that, feel it nice, rounding through the spine, rounding through the shoulders, and then releasing the head, unravel the legs, straightening legs up to the ceiling. Changing the cross of the legs, left thigh wraps over right. Bending the knees and taking hold of your ankles, shins, heels, wherever is most comfortable to hold. Relaxing your neck and shoulders, no tension in the neck. Take a few deep breaths, finding a stretch into the hips. Keeping the legs crossed, we hook the right arm on top of the left. Wrap palms together and take a breath in. Exhale to curl the head and shoulders off the mat, scrunching your knees and elbows together. Inhale, open knees and elbows apart, and exhale to crunch up. Inhale to open, and exhale to crunch. One last time, inhale. Exhale, crunching knees and elbows, rounding through the spine, rounding through the shoulders, nice and compact. And then slowly release, straightening legs up to the ceiling, and then hugging both knees to chest, and relaxing everything back onto the mat. Moving into our lying down crow pose, bring your big toes together to touch and knees opening out to the side. Curl your head off the ground and reach your arms forwards, bringing your knees to your outer arms. Press through your hands, fingertips pointing up to the ceiling, round through the shoulders, curl your tailbone a little off the mat. Holding it here as you extend your right leg forwards. Keep squeezing left knee in. Inhale to bring it back. Exhale, extend the left leg out. Keep lifting through the shoulders, rounding through the back. Inhale, come back to crow. And then hug knees to chest, lower head back down, release. One more time as we bring knees together, knees apart, big toes together. Reach your arms forwards, curling your head off the ground, pressing through your hands. Squeeze your knees to your upper arms. Feel where we're going to connect those knees a little later on. One more time, let's extend the left leg out. Push through the hands, round through the shoulders. Inhale, bring it back. Right leg extends, keep pushing through the hands, lifting the chest. Inhale, come back to your crow, take one more breath. And then exhale, hug knees to chest, lower head to the mat. And you can lightly roll your head from left to right. Releasing any tension from your neck. Come back to your breath. Take hold of the back of the knees and roll up to a seated position. Bringing the soles of your feet together in your butterfly pose, Baddha Konasana. Knees gently out to the sides and gently take a forward fold over the legs, allowing for a little rounding in the spine. If it's more comfortable for you to sit upright with fingertips behind, that's also perfect. Find a version of the pose that's best suited for you this evening. Feel that gentle opening into the hips. And if you're in the forward fold, feel that rounding between the shoulder blades and the rounding through the spine. Gently coming back up to seated. Extend your left leg forwards out in front. Bring the right sole of foot to touch the left inner thigh. Janu Sirsasana, head of the knee pose. Inhale, arms reach up. And exhale, forward fold over your left leg. Taking hold of your shin or your ankle or maybe either side of your left foot. Feel a little lift in your chest. And then exhale, round to forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest, reach both arms up overhead. Take your right hand behind you, fingertips pointing to the back of the mat. Sweep up into a kneeling side plank by pushing over onto your right knee, pressing up through the hips, pushing off your right hand. Breathe in. And then exhale, lowering the hips back onto the mat. Bend both knees, come back into butterfly, Baddha Konasana. This time extending your right leg forwards out in front. Bring the left sole of foot a little bit closer to touch the right inner thigh. Inhale, we breathe both arms up. And exhale to forward fold over towards the right shin, ankle or foot. Take hold wherever it's best or comfortable for you. Feel a little lift in your chest as we inhale. And then exhale to forward fold. And today we're allowing that little rounding in the spine. And now to lift the chest, gaze forwards, reaching up through the arms, coming out of your pose. Left hand extends back, fingertips pointing to the back of the mat as we push up onto the left knee, kneeling plank, pushing the hips up, pushing off your bottom hand, reach top arm overhead, deep inhale. And exhale, we gently lower the hips back to the mat. Bring soles of feet together, back into Baddha Konasana. From here, we close the knees, bring the soles of the feet onto the ground. Take hold of the back of the knees as we gently round through the spine to curl back on our sit bones. Feel the rounding in the spine, rounding through the shoulders. Floating the shins up one at a time. Bring big toes together, knees apart. Press your hands forwards as you bring those knees in nice and close. Squeeze your knees to your upper arms. Push through the hands, round through the shoulders. Inhale, release, extend your legs forwards, Navasana, boat pose, legs bent or straight. And then big toe together, knees out to the side, squeeze your knees to your triceps, rounding through the spine. One more time, opening those legs, Navasana, boat pose. And then coming into your seated crow, take one more breath here. Keep pushing through the hands, rounding through the spine and shoulders. Release to roll over shins and come onto all fours. Good. Taking a moment to ground here on your hands and knees. Check with your hands underneath your shoulders, knees are stacking underneath your hips, breathing through those fingers. As we move through a few rounds of cat-cow, inhale, arch the back, lift the chest, gaze up. And exhale, rounding through the spine, feel the push through your hands and the rounding between those shoulder blades. Inhale as we gaze forwards, gentle arch in the spine, lift your chest. And exhale to round through the back. Last time, inhale, lengthening forwards. And exhale to round. Holding your cat straight. Keep pushing through your hands, rounding through the spine. Gaze forwards, focus your drishti, and lean a little forwards over the wrist. Pushing through the hands, and then release back to all fours, and gently uncurl the spine. Inhale as you extend your right leg straight back behind you. Keep your eyes focused forwards, focus your drishti. Squeeze right knee to right upper arm. Allowing that leg to open out to the side, squeeze knee to tricep. And inhale, reach back and extend. Exhale, knee to right upper arm. Hook that knee as high as you can up your arm. And inhale, extending back. One more time. Hook knee to right upper arm. Look forwards. Lean a little forwards over those wrists. And then take a big step forwards into lizard pose with your right foot. Bring your hands forward and allow your hips to gently come down to feel that stretch into your lizard lunge. In your lizard, think of squeezing your right knee up against your right shoulder. Feeling where we're going to hook that knee later on for our crow pose. Tuck the back toes, straighten your back knee. Take a big step forwards into a wide-legged squat. Malasana. And then just snuggling the shoulders in between the knees and feeling a little rounding between the shoulders. Taking a few breaths here in our Malasana squat. Grounding through the hands. This time step back with your right foot so you've changed legs. Little lizard on the left side. Lower your back knee to the mat. Shuffle your hands a little bit closer towards you so they'll be under your shoulders as you bring your left knee to left upper arm. And then extend left leg straight back behind you. Ready to flow on the left side. Breathe in. Exhale, left knee to left upper arm. Squeeze that knee to the shoulder. And inhale, kick back. Exhale, left knee to left upper arm. Find that sharp. Look forwards. Find your drishti. Inhale, extend back. Last time, knee to left upper arm. Look forwards. And now lean forwards over the wrists. Big step forwards, lizard pose. Bringing the hands forwards, holding in your lizard, allow the hips to descend into your stretch. In your lizard pose, continue to squeeze your left knee to your left shoulder. Tuck the back toes, straighten your back knee, and take a big step forwards, Malasana squat with feet wide. Pressing the knees gently out to the sides, bringing the shoulders in between the knees, and allowing the shoulders and the spine to gently round here in your Malasana. From here, slowly push down through the feet as we gently start to rise up to standing. Keeping the feet wide, swivel on the balls of your feet to turn to the back of the mat in curtsy squat. Arms extending back, squat low. And inhale, swiveling through back to center. All the way over to the left side, swivel through the feet, facing the back of the mat, curtsy squat. Arms extend back, sit low. And swiveling all the way back to center. Bring the feet together to touch in Tadasana. Release your arms to your sides and take a few breaths here to ground in mountain pose. Check back in with your breath. Relax any tension from your body. Close your eyes and breathe. Eyes open, As we move into chair pose, bend the knees, sweep fingertips to the ground, Utkatasana, chair pose. Sit your weight back into the heels, sit nice and low. Keeping feet together, squat all the way down into Malasana, heels will pop up. Open knees out to the sides and sit down into your Malasana squat. Place your hands to the side, take a step or jump back into plank. Stacking your shoulders above your wrists, spreading fingers, nice active hands. With a slow, strong push, gently moving into downward dog, pushing through your hands, moving the hips slowly up and back. Taking a few breaths here in your downward dog. If you want to pedal out your feet or do anything that feels good, feel free to. Or hold and breathe in your down dog. From downward dog, sweeping the right leg up, three-legged dog. Bring right knee to right upper arm as you lean your weight forwards to your hands. Hook knee to right upper arm. Inhale, kick back, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to right upper arm. Look forward, lean forwards. Inhale, kick back. Last time, knee to right upper arm, hook there. Inhale, kick back, three-legged dog. And grounding back, downward facing dog. Gazing to the top of the mat. Option to walk, step or jump into your low squat Malasana. Knees apart, shoulders between the knees, rounding through the spine. Pushing down into the heels, come into chair pose. Weight back into the heels, sit low. Inhale, reaching arms up, high mountain. And then releasing arms to your sides, come back to Tadasana, come back to your breath. We'll feel that on the left. Bending the knees, sweeping fingertips across the mat, Utkatasana, chair pose, sit low. Breathe in. Exhale, squat all the way down, Malasana, knees open wide, shoulders between the knees, rounding through the spine. Ground your hands into the mat, take a step or a big jump into plank. Finding your plank pose, stack shoulders over wrists. Active legs. Breathe in. And exhale, slowly push into downward facing dog, taking the hips up and back. Breathing here in your down dog, do whatever feels good. And hold and breathe in your downward facing dog. Go on pushing through the hands, nice strong active arms. Relax the neck. When you're ready, left leg rises up to three-legged dog. Exhale, left knee to left upper arm. Hooking knee towards the upper arm. Gaze forwards, lean forwards. Press back, three-legged dog, inhale. Exhale, left knee to left upper arm. Hook. Inhale, kick back, three-legged dog. One more time, exhale, left knee to left upper arm. Look forwards. Press back, three-legged dog. And release back, downward facing dog. Gazing to the top of the mat, option to walk, step or jump into a low squat Malasana. Open the knees, shoulders between the knees, round through the spine. push down through the feet, come to chair pose. Sitting your weight back into the heels, sit low. Reaching arms up overhead, coming to reach up into high mountain. And releasing arms to your sides, Tadasana, mountain pose. Back to your breath. Back to ground. Eyes open, inhale, arms up, high mountain, Hastasana. Take a nice slow forward fold, coming all the way down. Hands in line with feet, relaxing the back of your neck. Bring hands to shins, inhale halfway left, press chest forwards. Keep the back of the neck nice and long. Grounding through the hand step or jump back into plank. Slow, strong push, moving into downward facing dog. Right leg reaches up for three-legged dog, inhale. Big step forwards between the hands. Low lunge with your back leg straight, come onto your fingertips. Walk your hands to the inside of the right foot and then turn to the side to come into Skandasana. Flexing left toes up towards the ceiling, pressing the right knee gently out to the side. Gently fold here, hands on the mat or elbows releasing to the ground. Taking a few breaths here now, Skandasana. Gently with your hands, walk your hands over to the left side, Skandasana on the left. Rounding the spine, maybe releasing elbows towards the mat. Taking a few breaths here now, Skandasana. Turn towards the back of the mat, so left leg is in front for a little lunge. Ground through your hands and step back into down dog. Down dog, you're facing the back of the mat. Take a few breaths here in your down dog. Keep pushing through the hands. Go on lifting hips up to the ceiling and relaxing the back of your neck. When you're ready, sweeping the left leg up, three-legged dog, inhale. Stepping forwards between the hands, low lunge, back leg is straight. Come onto your fingertips, little lift in the chest. Walk your hand to the inside of the left foot, turn to squat down into Skandasana on the left side. Allowing for a little rounding in the spine and a few breaths here in your Skandasana. Go on flexing right toes up towards the ceiling. Gently nudging that left knee out to feel the opening in the hips. Using your hands, walk with your hands over to the right side, Skandasana to the right. Take a few breaths. Turning back to the front of the mat, low lunge. Ground through your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Gazing to the top of the mat. See if you can take a little walk or jump into your low squat Malasana. Opening knees apart, rounding through the shoulders, feeling those knees connecting with your upper arms, nice and round and compact throughout throw. Sitting into Utkatasana, chair pose, weight back into the heels, squat low. Rising up to standing, Hastasana, high mountain, reaching up through the sides of the body. And relaxing arms to your sides, grounding back to Tadasana. Next, we'll be flowing through our moon salutation. So when you're ready, inhale, sweeping both arms up. Interlace the fingers and press your index finger, your pointer finger up. As you take a side stretch over to the right, little half move. Allow the hips to press out towards the left a little. Inhale, arms up. And side stretch towards the left. Inhale, arms up. Big step with your left foot or your right foot if you want to face towards me. Come into your goddess foot. Pressing the knees out to the sides, sitting deep into those hips. Straighten the legs for triangle pose. Right foot turns out 90 degrees. Left toes turn in slightly. Reach long to the right. Allow the hips to be natural, so your left hip is coming forwards with you. And to the shin, ankle or floor. Feel that you're leaning the chest back so that your shoulders are stacked over your right shin. Gently turning your chest towards the ceiling. From here, moving into our pyramid pose, turn onto the ball of your back foot as you square your hips over the right leg. Forward fold, pyramid pose, or stay in a halfway lift if that feels better for you. Move into low lunge, grounding the left back knee. Inhale, arms up, Anjaneyasana, low lunge with the back bend. Reach up, inhale. This time, hands come to heart center as you swivel towards Skandasana on the right. If you need to use your hands, please feel free to. Otherwise, hands to heart center. And then Skandasana over to the left. Maybe you're not using hands. Feel free to still use your hands in that transition. We bring it back around. Take a low lunge towards the left. Ground the back knee. Inhale, arms up. Anjaneyasana, little back bend. Release hands to the mat. Forward fold, pyramid pose, straighten your left knee. Square your hips. Fold in your pyramid pose. Ground your right back heel and open up into triangle pose on the left. Good. Coming up into goddess pose. Inhale to come up. Turn both feet out to the side. Squat deep. Goddess. Stepping to the back of the mat now. Stepping to the back. Arms up. And release arms to your sides. Tadasana, mountain pose. A moment to ground. We'll flow to the other side. Inhale, arms sweep up. Let's take a side stretch over to the left. Reaching over. Inhale, arms up. And side stretch to the right. Taking a big step out to the side, goddess pose. I'm stepping right. If you stepped right the last time, maybe you're changing. And we'll move into our triangle over to the left side. So left foot turns out 90 degrees, right toes turn in. Reach towards the left. Feel the length in the side of the body. Right hip is coming with you, natural hips. Grounding the bottom hand. Twist chest open. Reach up through your top arm. From your triangle, take a breath in and then exhale, forward fold into your pyramid pose, swiveling on the ball of the back foot, squaring the hips, forward fold, pyramid pose. Moving into our low lunge with the back bend, Anjaneyasana, lunging to ground the right knee. Inhale, arms sweep up, reach up. Turning to Skandasana, swiveling on the feet, Skandasana to the left. Hands on the floor or in the center of the chest. And then we transition Skandasana to the right. Good. Turning back into our low lunge, facing the right side front of the mat. Round the back knee. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, we release the hands to the mat. And forward fold, pyramid pose. You know, these transitions can be tricky, so if you need to take a little longer in each one, please feel free to. Ground the back heel, right hand to right shin, open up triangle pose. Lean head back, twist chest open. Coming up for goddess pose, inhale, come up, turn both feet out, goddess squat. Nice. Stepping back to the front of the mat, feet together, back from where you came. Arms up, inhale. And releasing arms to your sides, taking a moment to ground into Tadasana. Next, we'll be adding on a little bit more. So we're going to start in a figure 4 stretch. We're going to stand on the right foot, cross left ankle over right thigh, sit low, figure 4. Feeling that opening into the hips. With your left foot, take a big step wide, goddess pose. Straighten arms and legs, turn your feet parallel. Slow forward fold, wide-legged forward fold. We'll place our hands just underneath our shoulders. Spread the fingers, open the palms. Look forwards and lean forwards onto your hands. Look forwards, find your drishti, feel the lean. And then inhale to rock back. Do that 2 more times. Look forwards, little lean forward so you feel lighter on your feet. And rock back. One more time. Look forwards, lean forwards. And then rock the heels back. Moving into triangle to the right. Right foot turns out, left foot turns in. Trikonasana on the right side. Right hands on the shin, that's it. Forward fold for pyramid pose. Round the hands, turn onto the ball of the back foot. Fold over your right leg, pyramid pose. Moving into low lunge, ground the back knee. Inhale, arms up, Anjaneyasana. From here, we're going to take a little step forwards into our Malasana squat. You ready? Straighten the back leg, little step forwards, feet together, Malasana. Squat low, round through the spine. Maybe you place your hands on the floor or keep hands in the center of your chest as you step the left foot back, little lunge, and transition to Skandasana on the right. Not an easy transition, I know, take it easy. Transition Skandasana over to the left. We bring it back around. Low lunge to the left, you ready? Turning to low lunge, ground the back knee, arms up, inhale. Forward fold, pyramid pose. Ground the hands, left leg straightens, pyramid. Ground the back heel, open up triangle pose. You've got it. Next we move into goddess pose. Coming up, turn the feet out, press thighs out. Step back to the back of the mat. You ready? Step into the back of the mat. Arms up. Inhale. Arms release down to Tadasana, mountain pose. We'll do that all again, flowing back to the front of our mat. You ready? Let's go. Inhale, arms up. Take a side stretch to the left and reach. Inhale, arms up. Side stretch to the right. Inhale, arms up. Squat down, figure four, hooking right ankle over left thigh. Figure four stretch. Feeling that opening into the hip. Sit nice and deep in your figure four. Big step with the right foot into goddess pose. Good. Then we straighten arms and legs, turn the feet parallel. Forward fold, wide-legged pose. Hands land underneath the shoulders. Look forwards, lean forwards. Feel the rocking of your weight forwards. Inhale as you rock back. Exhale, look forwards, lean forwards. And little rock back. Last time as we look forwards, lean forwards. Push through the hands. And rock back into the heels. Triangle to the left. Left foot turns out 90 degrees. Open up, Trikonasana on the left. Moving into pyramid pose. Forward fold over the left leg. Turn onto the ball of the back foot. Low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Bend the back knee to ground. Inhale, arms up. Malasana squat, feet together. Facing the back of the mat, squat low, round through the spine. Big step back with the right foot, back into low lunge. And when you're ready, transition to Skandasana on the left side. Skandasana over to the right side. Beautiful. Turning back to low lunge on the right, facing back to the front of the mat. Ground the back knee. Inhale, arms up, low lunge. Pyramid pose, straightening the right leg. Forward fold, pyramid. Moving into triangle pose, ground the back heel, hand to shin, opening up Trikonasana on the right side. Nice. Moving into goddess pose, coming up, inhale. Knees press out to the sides, feel that opening into the hips. Lovely. Coming back to stand at the front of the mat, feet together, arms up, inhale. And release back to Tadasana. And arms relaxed to your sides. Well done. Take a breath here to ground. Beautiful. Sweeping from the ground. Utkatasana, chair pose. Squat all the way down, Malasana. Nice and low, nice and compact. Hands ground. Take a step or jump back into plank. Slow, strong push into downward facing dog. Good. Moving into our peak pose, look forward, take a little jump into your Malasana squat or step your way there. So at this point, you can have your pillow handy so that you feel a little bit more confident to lean. Or maybe you would like to take your block, which I will do with you, and we'll put our feet onto the block in Malasana. We'll do this a couple times so you'll have a chance to play with a few versions if you like. Okay, props in place if you're using them. Let's all come into Malasana wherever you are. Knees out to the sides, hands forward. So walk your hands forwards a little bit to bring your chest a bit lower between your legs. Then slide your hands back as you bend your elbows out to the sides. Feel at this moment your knees coming to the top of your arms, on your outer arms. so that you're creating a shelf with your arms. So take a little time to feel that. Then you're going to lift your chest and look forwards and rise into the balls of your feet. Now look forwards. Remember, it's your mantra. Lean forwards onto your hands. Maybe lift one toe or one foot off your block. Maybe both feet lift. Keep looking forwards, leaning forward, squeezing knees to upper arms. Go slowly. As you feel the weight transfer more into your hands, look forwards is the key. One foot, then the other, beautiful. And then let's come up to standing for a moment, just because the hips can feel a little bit squishy and stiff after that. Take a moment to breathe and ground. If you're still working with this pose, any wrist issues, any elbow issues, just make the shapes. Feel a little bit of a lean forwards, but if you're not ready to lift yet, that's also fine. But still move towards the pose. Okay, let's try it again. So when you're ready, let's squat down. You can go through a little Utkatasana if you're feeling strong. Otherwise, we'll all meet in Malasana. Feet are together. Knees are on the outsides, arms forwards, drag your hands back until they don't go back anymore. Make sure your hands are quite wide, so shoulder distance or more. Make sure to not be too narrow. You want to be broad. Lift your chest, look forwards, lean forwards. Make sure your knees feel secure on your shelf of your arms. Once you're looking forwards, slowly transfer your weight into your hands. Don't rush it. Go slow. One foot at a time, or maybe both feet lift. If you're challenging yourself, draw your heels to your bum and push into your hands to begin straightening your arms more and more. To challenge the pose. Yes. That's it, Jamie. Nice. That's it, Lynn. Good shapes. Keep looking forwards. That's it, Wilma. Nice. Awesome, Gary. Nice, Celine. You've got it. That's it, Roxy. And once you're in the pose, big toes together. Draw heels up towards your hips. That's it, Gudrun. Yes. Nice, Micah. Yes, Belinda. You guys are doing fantastic. Yay, well done. Then have a seat on your bum with your legs crossed. If you still want to go for a last run, I'll let you, but I'm sure you're feeling it now. Sitting with your legs crossed. Take your fingertips behind you, fingertips pointing back. And then just lift your chest, just sitting up nice and tall. Got a lot of rounding, super compact, so just feel that opening across your shoulders now. Take your left hand over to your right knee, sit up tall and take a gentle twist towards the right, turning through the tummy, ribs, then shoulders, lastly looking back. Gently release, unwind. Both fingertips behind you. Just take a moment first to just lift your chest. Feel that opening in the front of the body. Maybe a little back bend if it feels good. And then we'll take the right hand over to the left knee. Sit up straight. And take a gentle twist towards the left. Beautiful. Gently release. Both fingertips behind you. One more time. Lift your chest. Little back bend if it feels okay. Just opening up the front of the body. And then gently uncross the legs. Bring your feet out in front of you. Arms out in front. And recline down onto your back. Keeping the knees bent. Just lying nice and flat. Shoulders relaxed. Arms down to your sides. Bring your elbows into a cactus position and shuffle your feet the width of the mat. And then windscreen wiper the knees from side to side. Feeling that easy twist in your own time from left to right. Gently unwind. One more on each side so that you're even. And then grounding your feet, shuffle your feet back to hip distance, arms to your sides. And then pressing your hips up into bridge pose. Push down through the heels, lift through the hips. Keep your gaze straight up to the ceiling, not pushing your chin towards your chest, but keeping the neck in its natural curves. Option to interlace your fingers. Remember with this one, rock off to one side, tuck the shoulder, rock off to the other side, tuck the shoulder, and just push your upper arms into the mat. Go on lifting the chest up to the ceiling. Pushing down through the feet. See how high you can lift your hips. Gently release the bind, release your hands, and lower your hips back down onto the mat. Make sure that you're warm enough and slowly move into your final relaxation, straightening legs along the ground. Taking a few moments to settle, to lie comfortably down into your back. Allow your feet to drop out to the sides. With your legs straight. Palms gently facing up towards the ceiling or wherever they feel comfortable for you this evening. Once you feel comfortable, become still. Let your eyes fall heavy and your gaze turn down towards your chest, towards your breath. Settling into that still, quiet space within. Truly let go here in Shavasana. Time you spend on your hands, the easier it gets. So you almost have to just condition your wrists over time, progressively loading, to build that strength. So completely normal, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. Celine?
Must our neck scrunch?
It is going to feel a little bit scrunched in that because you need to look forwards. So a little bit, yes, full crow. Because you're lifting your gaze, look forward. I mean, don't excessively scrunch, but your neck is in a little bit of a arch.
Can I ask a question, Laura, about the Skandasana?
Yes, go for it, Michelle.
So when we went from down dog and then low lunge and then Skandasana,
yes,
we were quite flow. I could see how low you were and I couldn't quite figure it out. And then I think you had your bent foot, your bent heel, the heel of your bent foot was off the ground, whereas I'd kept mine flat on the ground and I wasn't getting very low. So
Exactly. Good observation, Michelle. So if you allow your bottom heel to pop up in Skandasana, so what it looks like, otherwise you tend to be doing like a one-legged kind of goddess pose.
yeah.
But if you allow that heel to lift, you won't be restricted by your ankle anymore. And then that allows you to come lower.
Oh, and I've seen the other foot is actually closer to your midline, actually. I had it further out. Okay, I was getting that completely wrong.
Exactly. So that's why I kind of felt it with hands on floor to really get you nice and low, to experience that downwards action, because it is a bit harder when your hands are like this. There's a tendency to want to stay here, which is also fine. I mean, that was totally fine. It's just stronger work on the legs. And then if I allow my heel to lift, then I can come low.
Right.
So just two different ways of doing the pose at the end of the day.
Could you show me, sorry, Laura, I know you've just come back. Could I ask you to show me how you switch from one side to the other? Because you've obviously got a lot of strength. You don't have to use your hands. But I'm trying to see how I go from one
right
side to
the left, Michelle?
Yeah.
Is my video thing still big?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I'm here, so your options are you can put your hands on the floor, and then you can kind of lift your bum up through the middle, which helps a lot. And then with your hands, you can kind of walk it over from side to side.
Okay.
And then the other way, I mean, if your hamstrings and inner thighs are quite flexy, you can stay pretty low. If you're feeling strong and flexy enough to be there. So both are fine. You could almost come up through a little goddess and then back.
Right, but the feet stay. The feet don't move actually, regardless of whichever way you do it. Your feet stay.
Your feet stay exactly where they are, and it just depends on your flexibility. If you need to come up a little bit as you transition, or maybe you stay super low as you transition.
Okay.
Both are fine, but yeah, you're just kind of swiveling on your feet a bit. It's kind of just a fancy new pose. Nice way to get from one side of the mat to the other side of the mat, as you can feel in those moon salutations. Natalie, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question about crow.
Yes.
So when I do it, in my setup, I can like get my leg up, but then it always falls to like sit kind of here.
To lower.
Yeah. And so I wanted to know, is it better to take off with a lower, or is it better to stay and keep working on it higher?
So first of all, Natalie, were you in your long sleeves when you were doing it?
No.
Okay, because sometimes sleeves merely make you slip. Natalie, can you do the pose? Because it's hard for me to say without seeing, if you don't mind.
Sure, I'm just going to forward sprawl it. So.
That's okay.
Okay, so I'm going to just do it on the block so that I'm a bit higher.
Perfect. Because you've got quite long legs as well. So that's what I thought. It may be a bit of a proportions thing as well.
Yes, I'm quite tall.
That's it. Okay. So clamp your knees. Beautiful. That looks fantastic. Look forwards, lean forwards.
Kind of come down.
Yes. But that's totally fine, Natalie. I wish you could, we could screenshot you there, because your knee actually stayed up here on your upper arm. And what you're feeling is when you transfer your weight, your shin is actually resting more on your arm, but your knee is still perfectly high in your shoulder. So that's fabulous.
Oh, so is it just working this?
Exactly. Go into it one more time. I'll send you this picture later on. So knees are nice and high, look forwards, lean forwards, and you feel your actual knee has stayed there. You're feeling more of your weight of your shin, and that's a perfect crow. I mean, it's fabulous.
Okay.
It's perfect. So I'll send you this picture later on. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on my little screen, how your knee is actually staying high enough.
Oh, okay.
You're just feeling the weight more of your shin on lower down your arm. So
okay, I think because you can't see yourself.
You can't see yourself. So this is why I also say it's so helpful when you video yourself, because you can kind of like observe these funny little things that we can't always see when we're just on our mats. So so that was
cool to see. And I'll send you that later on, Natalie.
Thanks, Laura.
That you've actually got a fabulous crow over there. Any other questions? Lynn's going into it over there. That looks great, Lynn. Easy on those elbows. But that looks great. I would say look forwards a bit more. That would be my only critique.
Okay, thank you.
Okie dokie. Any other questions? Feeling right? Okay, I won't bombard you this evening. We will just be recapping the balancing poses, which we'll be also doing in our smaller groups tomorrow. I want to go through the main ones that are in your assessment. And then I might teach you some of those fun ones, the crazy ones as well, like Bird of Paradise, just for fun. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay. So our first pose is tree pose. All right, so just a quick little reminder about your tree pose. We start in Tadasana. We want to bring that heel right up into the top of the other thigh. Remember the trick. What's the trick to keeping your foot in place? Unmute yourself so you can all just shout.
Press.
Press the heel in.
Press your heel into your inner thigh and then squeeze your inner thigh into your heel as well, okay? Hands in the center of the chest help you to balance. What else really helps with balance? Drishti, big time. And what can I do with my foot to think about balance a bit as well?
Open your toes.
Gripping with the toes, totally. And keeping your big toe down. Once you've got the balance, then we take the arms up overhead and you've basically got Hastasana arms, like so, right? You hold there for a breath, and then we bring hands back to the center of the chest, and we release. Okay, so quite straightforward. Let's come into Vrikshasana, tree pose. Okie dokie. So standing in Tadasana, feet together. Take hold of your right foot and bring your right heel to the top of your left thigh. Press your heel into your thigh and your thigh into your heel to keep your foot there. Hands into the center of your chest when you're ready. Focus eyes for balance. Grip with the toes a little bit. Keep big toe firmly grounded. Eyes are still. When you feel stable, inhale your arms up overhead. Reach up through your arms like we do in high mountain. Feel the length in the sides of the body. Take one more breath, inhale. Bring hands to the center of your chest. And release Tadasana, mountain pose. Moving across to the other side. Left heel comes up. Take hold of your foot to bring it to the top of your right thigh. Take a moment to squeeze heel to thigh. Also flexing the foot really digs that heel in. Squeeze inner thigh to heel. Hands in the center of the chest to spine stability. Once you've got your balance, inhale, arms up, overhead. Reach up through the sides of the body. Palms face one another. Fully extend your arms as you reach up. Bring hands back to the center of the chest. Hold for one more breath. And release back, Tadasana, mountain pose. Do it one more time. Right foot up, tree pose. When you're ready, arms overhead. To challenge the pose, you could wave your arms from side to side like a tree in the wind. Another way you could challenge this pose is now close your eyes.
Laura, I can't get this leg up.
We'll come to you now, Lynn, and then release. So as soon as we take the drishti away, notice how much harder it is. So Lynn, feel that on the other side if you want to. Otherwise, we're going to take a look at Lynn. So Lynn, we're bringing one foot up, and we're finding it tricky to keep the foot there. So we'll have a look.
Once I get the foot up, I'm fine, but I can't get the foot up and keep my balance.
Okay. Let's have a look at what you're doing. Just go for it, Lynn. Okay, getting your foot there isn't too much of a problem. So Lynn, what I would say is just bring your foot without using your hands. Just bring your heel up into the top of the other inner thigh without using your hands. Keep your eyes still now. Keep your body upright. If it's a little on the top of the knees, fine. Hands to the middle of your chest. So it's more of a balance thing than keeping your foot there, Lynn.
Yeah, I can do it better on the other side.
And that's normal. Sometimes one side's easier to balance on than the other. What I'm going to bring your awareness to is the toes where you can see Lynn's foot's coming up. Make sure your toes aren't wanting to curl around the front of your knee and thigh. Make sure your toes point straight down towards your ankle. Not that it's going to help you balance it all in, but yes, point the toes straight down. Yes.
Is it better to lean forward to get the balance and then lean back?
Yeah, I think that's helpful for you, Lynn. It certainly helped there. And also just having your hand on the wall to steady yourself is also perfectly fine. And then that's fabulous.
I think what I've been trying to do is stay too upright while I've been getting my...
Lean forwards to find the positioning and then come upright slowly. And balance is one of those things. Practice, 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 and it will come. Okay.
Yeah. Got it.
All right. Any other questions? Could you see with the toes? So you know your toes like curling around the front of your thigh, toes pointing straight down. Also helps to keep that foot in place for some. So Lynn, you can make use of the wall to steady yourself and then take your arms up and just work with it and find, does leaning forwards help? Does keeping upright help? And just fiddle with it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those things. Balance, the more you do it, it will improve. If we don't have any other questions on tree pose, can I move on to Garudasana, eagle pose? Yep. Cool. So I'm sure you've all been practicing these. Yes. Okay. So as we move into eagle pose, the big tip is to bend your knees, right? The more you bend your knees, it helps you to, first of all, get your thighs to hook over. And also the deeper you sit, it can help your balance as well. So when our thighs are hooked, it's not important to wrap your toes, but full version, you would point your toes straight down behind the calf, okay? We want to bring the knees to the midline of the body, so hips and knees pointing forwards as much as possible. And then which arm goes on top? If my right leg is on top, which arm goes over? Opposites. So my left arm comes on top, okay? So it kind of counterbalances me, okay? And then I bring my elbows away from the chest and my forearms away from my face. I gaze through my palms or my wrists or my forearms and sit low and release. Okay, let's give that a go and see if you have any questions on Garudasana, eagle pose. So coming to stand in Tadasana. Bend your knees like Utkatasana. Lift your right thigh up. Balance on your left foot as you hook your right thigh over the left thigh. Squeeze your thighs together, bend your knees, sit low. Focus eyes for balance as you center your knees, center your hips, keep your body more upright. Yes. Then if right leg is on top, which arm do you take over? Left. Left arm hooks over right, opposite arms to legs. Draw your elbows away from your chest and your forearms away from your face. Now see if you can bend the knees and sit a little deeper, focusing your eyes through your arms. Take a breath. And then release arms and legs, come back to standing in Tadasana. To the other side, we bend the knees. Weight on the right foot as we float the left leg up, cross left thigh over right. Good. Find your wrap. Bend the knees, center knees. Find drishti. Opposite arms to legs. So which arm goes on top? Right. Good. Elbows away from chest, forearms away from face. Body is fairly upright. Bend the knees. Sit low, sit low. Take a breath. And then slowly release. Good. And Lynn, hands in prayer like that is perfectly fine. There you are. And with the wrap. Good.
No
Take your
balance
time.
tonight.
So a little tip. If you find that balance is a bit of an issue here, I recommend getting the arms in place first. Okay, so I hook my arms around first, so that's something I don't have to worry about when I'm balancing. So let's go, left arm goes on top of right, and now my arms are already placed. Now I can just think about the balance and the drishti. Don't lean too far forward, then chest up a little bit, there. Now hook right thigh on top of left. So something worth playing with. Is it easier for you to do arms first, or do you prefer doing legs first? I would say doing arms first without the balance is a little bit easier, that you don't have to coordinate your arms while balancing on one leg. So that is also an option. Remember, hands in the center of your chest, also perfectly fine, or squeezing elbows together, also perfectly fine. Any questions on Garudasana, eagle pose? Natalie?
Our shoulders, do we need to push them back?
Good question. So your shoulders will be, your shoulder blades are moving apart. They're protracting. But what we want to do is lightly draw our shoulders away from ears. So we hook the arms. Lift your elbows up there, Natalie. Good. And now you can feel your shoulders want to shrug up a little bit with that. Lightly draw your shoulders away from your ears, and you'll feel quite a nice stretch across your back and into your shoulders. That's perfect.
Okay.
But your shoulder blades are moving apart, but we use moving the shoulders away from ears.
Okay.
Okay, cool. And that's why this arm version is such a nice prep for poses where the shoulder blades are moving apart. Like crow pose, and why we did it in the beginning, to feel the shoulders moving apart. But we don't want to leave the shoulders up in the ears, so we lightly draw the shoulders down away from the ears, which increases that stretch in the shoulders and arms as well. All okay with Garudasana?
Hi, Laura.
Hi, Nicole.
Is it important to keep your spine straight and not arch, correct?
So you're going to find we're all a bit different in this pose. Some of us are going to lean a little bit forward. Some of us will be able to do it upright. It's okay, Nicole. I don't think we want excessive arching in the back. You want to keep your spine fairly in its natural curves. But if you need a little arch just because it helps with the hips, that's also okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for me? Cool. So next we'll move on to Warrior 3. Okay, so from which pose do we always enter Warrior 3 from?
High lunge.
High lunge. High lunge, pretty much in a vinyasa class we entered. We could also, we can do it from other places as well. We mostly enter from a high lunge, but you could also come from like a single leg Tadasana and then flow back into a Warrior 3 as well. Okay, so you do have options there. We'll take it from a high lunge. Okay, so what are my 3 arm choices for Warrior 3? Airplane. And the hardest one? Arms overhead. Why is it the hardest?
Load.
Yeah. We drilled that into you now, right? So you can choose always. Okay, we'll try them again. So we're going to come from our high lunge. Bring the chest parallel to the floor. Okay, you don't want to
your chest here. You want to keep a sense of lift. When you step into the pose, what is a helpful tip?
Bend your knee.
If you squat a little bit in it, it helps to square off your hips. Look here, if I come from a straight leg, like if I was coming from pyramid, is a tendency for the hips to want to be more open, okay? If I bend my standing leg, it really helps to give you a little bit of space to drop this hip more parallel to the floor, okay? Back foot can be flexed if you want a good indicator of where your hip is, or flointed, okay? Once I feel like I got my hips in place, I can choose arm version of choice. In whatever arm version I'm doing, keep your chest lifted. I see this a lot, with the chest dropping below the hips. It feels like you're almost in that Shalabhasana locust pose. And then whichever version you've chosen, maybe you want to extend arms out. Okay, should we give it a go? Don't drop your chest is a common thing. Try and keep your hips parallel is what we're looking for. Straight back leg. Ready, so let's flow. From the top of the mat, we'll flow to high lunge. Arms up, high mountain. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Grounding hands, stepping back into plank. And then moving into downward facing dog. Right leg up, three-legged dog. Keep the hips squared off. Step forwards between your hands. Inhale, arms up, high lunge. Okay, so from here, we lean the chest forwards and choose an arm variation. Look forwards. Feel your weight shift into your bottom leg. Keep the knee bent. At this point, you can even put your hands on your hips and feel, what are my hips doing? With that bottom leg bent, feel how it offers you a little bit more space to square off your hips. Think about your back leg now. Straighten your back knee. Flex or floint the foot. Once your leg is in place, check your chest. Don't drop your chest too low. Lift your chest. Yes, it should feel like you're in a wee little back bend. And then arm version of your choice. Arms forwards, back, or in the center of your chest. Maybe now you straighten your bottom leg once everything's in place. It's kind of like that final touch. Good, Gary, now lift your chest up a little bit more. Leg looks great, just a little lift in the chest. Nice, Renee. Nice, Andrea. Yes, Belinda, I can see that back leg. Straighten your back leg. Push that leg away. Nice, Micah. Nice, Cynthia. Yes, Wilma. Nice, Mika. Beautiful, Roxy. Nice, C. And then big step back, high lunge. Control the step. Arms up, inhale. Hands to the mat, step back, down dog. Hey, that's looking good, everyone. For those that I can see in the camera, left leg up, inhale. Step forwards. Inhale, arms up, high lunge. Lean forwards. Focus drishti. Keep that bottom leg bent. Step forwards. Find your balance. Square your hips. Push out through the back foot. Once the legs are in place, find your arm position. Keep your chest lifted. Maybe extending the bottom leg. Keep that back leg strong and straight. Reach it away. Good. Watch Kristen, that you don't drop your chest too much. Lift your chest a little bit. Yes, there. Perfect. Big step back, high lunge. Control that step. Arms up. Inhale. Release it back. Downward dog. Hey. And release. Okay. Could you feel it's very easy to have your chest dropped in Warrior 3, okay? So it's a sensation of keeping your chest lifted. Your back muscles are on. It'll feel like you're in a little baby back bend. And that's, your back is active. Questions? Can you feel how keeping your bottom leg bent
Like you stay in a little bit of a lunge as you come into it. Really helps you get into a nice pose. It's probably the biggest tip I have for you. It just works. Okay, and making sure the chest doesn't drop too low. Nice, Lynn. And that back leg must be nice and straight at the back. Okay, well done, guys. So that's a very big, important one. And I'll be reviewing it more with you guys individually so I can give you more corrections if you need any tomorrow and on Sunday. No questions? Okay, you're all tired and Friday night after a long
Exhausted.
making my job easy for me. Okay, so next then I'll talk about half moon pose. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. So the most important thing in this pose, what is it?
Open the hip.
Hips.
Not about the hips. The hips are just gonna be. There's something that's make or break in this pose.
Place the hand further forwards.
Correct, Micah, you've got it. Your hand that's extended in front must not be in the middle like this, but slightly out to the side, okay? And forwards, a little bit ahead of you or underneath the shoulder. But if this hand is like in the middle like this, in the center of your chest, it's not gonna help you. If your hand is a little bit off to the side, it helps you to lean back and open your chest, like we do in triangle pose. Okay, the hips we don't have to worry about because we'll call it abducting. We just lift the top leg, okay? It's gonna go to where it goes. So you're not even gonna be thinking about your hips in the pose because all you're gonna think about is holding on for dear life and balancing, right? And that hand placement is everything. I recommend a block in this pose. I mean, those of you with super long hamstrings totally don't need it, but it's one of those poses where a block is awesome. I will show you the pose and then we'll do it all together. Okay, dokie. So from which pose do I enter half moon pose from?
Triangle.
Triangle pose, you've got it. Okay. Can you see my block is not in front of my foot over here? I'm going to take my block back, more towards the baby toe side of the foot, okay? That's going to be the key component I really want you to get. So from my triangle pose, I want to try and have my chest like this, like it is in triangle, with my chest open, a little twisted up towards the side in half moon. So I try and keep my chest like it is in triangle, and that's why placing the hand on the hip can also be a helpful reminder to not drop your chest. The reason is by coming to the pose with my chest dropped, it's a whole lot work on one leg to then open it up again. If I can step into the pose with my chest already open, it's going to help a lot to not have to twist and turn my shoulders when balancing on one leg. Okay. So from my triangle pose, we'll try with the hand on the hip. Tell me how it feels for you. I can bend right knee. Look how far forwards I'm reaching my hand. And my block is not in line with my foot. It's out to the side. Okay. I step into the pose. Once I've stepped, look, I need to move my block even more forwards. This hand placement is crucial. And because I'm trying to keep my chest open, I just step into the pose and hopefully find the balance. Flointing the back foot, I'm just lifting this hip. Okay, it'll go as far as it goes. Try to keep chest open. Same chest as in triangle pose. And that is why we enter from triangle. Just so I've drilled it into you enough. This block is off to the side. Can you see that? Outside of the foot. So that I can lean back and open the chest when I'm in my half moon pose. Let's give it a go. So let's go. Flow your way to downward dog. From your downward dog, right leg up, three-legged dog. Step forwards between your hands. Ground your back heel and come up to standing facing the side of your mat to prepare for triangle. Arms out to the sides. Stand upright, straight front knee. Reach long to the right. Hand comes onto the shin. Lean the chest back. Twist your chest open. Now, can you feel your chest here? So your front leg is straight, yes, in triangle pose. Keep your top hand on your hip. So left hand comes onto the hip to remind you to keep your chest open. Okay. Bend your right knee. Slide your right hand forwards onto a block or onto the floor. Pause here. Take that hand out to the side. Okay. As you step now into your right foot, you'll need to slide your right hand forwards again. It's not just like a given thing. You'll need to bring it forwards again. Okay. Yes. Now place a bit of weight on your right hand or onto that right block. Once you've done that, notice how now your chest hopefully is still a little open. If your hand is in the correct place, it makes this pose happen, and all of you look like you're balancing pretty well. So Celine, your hand needs to go more forwards. Yes, Renee, nice balance. Now twist your chest open and reach your top arm up to the ceiling once you feel you've got your balance. Gary, bottom hand needs to go more forwards. Yes. Okay. Can you feel now when it's forwards, it almost acts as a leg to stand on. Big step back. Maybe do a little reverse of your triangles to add some vinyasa. And then windmill your arms back into downward facing dog for the other side. Okay. We'll feel that on the left. Left leg rises up, three-legged dog. Step forwards between your hands. Ground your back heel, come up to standing, arms out to the sides. Prepare for triangle pose, front leg straight as you reach to the left. Hand to shin, find your triangle pose. Lean chest back. Are your shoulders stacked over your bottom shin? Hand nose onto the hip to remind you to keep your chest open like this. Bend your left knee. Slide your left hand well forwards, but as you now step onto your left foot, you'll need to slide that hand forwards again. Take it a little out to the side, so on the outside of your left baby toes and well forwards. Nice, Mika, that's a perfect arm there, you've got it. Then use that hand. You'll feel if it's in place, boom, you're gonna have your balance. Nice open chest there, Jamie. Now floint your back foot and reach your top arm up to the ceiling. Keep your chest open. Like your chest is in triangle pose. Yes, Cynthia, go on lifting that back leg. Yes, thank you. Big step back. And maybe a little reverse of your triangle and windmill back into downward facing dog. And release. Watch, Roxy, you're hanging in those shoulders in your downward dog. Remember, arms in line with ears. I can see you. Okay, could you feel that hand thing? Okay. So often I see people in the pose and their hand is like this and they cannot balance and their chest is dropped and they cannot turn. Okay, that hand needs to go forwards and out to the side. I cannot stress it enough. It's kind of like a make or break thing. Either it'll get you into a perfect pose or it will stop you from getting into the pose. Even more forwards, Wendy, even a little bit more forwards with that bottom hand. And then use it to balance on. It helps a lot. Okay. Any questions on half moon pose? It's one of the hardest poses to get right. There's a lot going on there. You all got pretty good balance there once your hand was in place. I'll see you more soon. Any questions before I move on?
Laura,
Yes, Nicole.
are we allowed to use our blocks in our pose review?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Always. And blocks are awesome in this pose. You'll even see, for me, my hamstrings are very long. So I'm quite happy to put my hand on the floor. But when I use a block, I actually get a nicer looking pose. So if I'm using my block, can you see how my bottom waist is quite horizontal to the floor, right? And if I take my block away, can you see how my shoulders are a bit lower than my hips? And it actually makes it harder for me to turn. So even though I can comfortably put my hand on the floor, I actually get a better looking pose with the block. Even after doing this pose for many, many, many years now, it still looks better on a block, just because I don't have those long arms. Who had long arms we were looking at the last time? If you have long arms, that would proportionately actually make your pose look straighter. If you're going to be really fussy about it. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but just saying. Okay, I won't bore you with the nitty gritty. Can we move on? Zombie yogis tonight. You all tired?
Exhausted.
Okay. We'll do dancers pose next, and then those are all the poses that are in your review. So those are the only ones you have to worry about, and then we'll just have fun with poses that aren't important. Sound good? Okay. So we'll do our half dancers pose. When we do dancers pose, what am I doing with my hand? Because bad things can happen if we don't place it correctly, right?
On the inside of the foot.
Correct, Lynn. And then how do I move my hand back there as well? Because I can hold it on the inside of the foot like this. Or I can do what?
You can
External rotation. Yes, Natalie. So what's a useful thing? Because if we tell our students externally rotate your arm, then I'm going to have any idea what you're saying. So what can we think of saying when we take that arm back?
Arms up.
Turn thumb down.
So turn thumb up. Feel it. If I turn my thumb down, what is happening in my shoulder?
General rotate.
It's rolling inwards, right? And if I turn my thumb up,
External.
it's more open, yeah? Okay, so that's what we want to be holding our arm in when we move into dancer's pose. Otherwise, you see a lot of scary stuff because people will try to hold it like this. And then they're putting their shoulder in a very uncomfortable position and then holding their leg, which is quite heavy. Okay, so we need to emphasize when we take that arm back, thumbs pointing up towards the ceiling. Chest is opening. We're trying to externally rotate that arm. Okay. Then once my hand is turned out with the thumb up, I bend the knee, catch hold of the inside arch of the foot. Now what do I do first?
Into your foot.
Do I lean forwards first or do I kick back first?
kick back.
Yes. So if I lean forwards, I'm not even going to be in a back bend, right? So we need to emphasize first lifting the thigh, okay? And if your arm is in the correct position, that also makes that easier, okay? Because if I'm holding my foot like this, I can't lift my leg because it's going to hurt my shoulder, okay? So it's crucial to get that arm position correct. I'm going to lift my thigh up, and when it doesn't lift anymore, then we're going to do a little bit of a lean forwards, which is going to bring in the hamstrings as well. Okay, want to give it a go? So come to stand in Tadasana. Okay, right hand is going to extend back. So show me what you're doing with that hand. You're turning the arm back, thumb up to the ceiling, palm facing outwards. Yes, good. Now bend your right knee and catch hold of the inside of your foot. So big toe side of the foot. Okay. Now your left arm extends up towards the ceiling. Create length in the spine. Now start to kick your foot into your hand, but also lift your toes up to the ceiling. Squeeze your bum and your hamstring to lift your back leg up as high as possible until you feel like it's not going up anymore. Nice, everyone. Keep that thigh up now. Now slowly start to lean forwards. Eyes focused. Keep kicking back as you lean forward. So it's kind of like a push and a pull action. Keep kicking your toes up. Don't forget about your back leg. Toes up, toes up, toes up, toes up. Focus drishti. Then to come out, squeeze your thighs together. Try and land this pose, which is hard. It's one of those very hard poses to come out of. Control out and release Tadasana. Nice. Okay, that's looking awesome. Big improvements there. Let's try it on the other side. So show me what you're doing with that left hand. It's important. Turn the left hand out, thumb up to the ceiling. Bend the left knee. Take hold of the inside of the foot. Right arm extends up. Create length in the spine as you breathe in. First, kick your toes up. Don't rush it. Kick toes up, toes up, toes up, toes up, toes until they don't go no more. Then only start to lean. And even then, go on lifting your toes up to the ceiling. Yes, beautiful. Once you've got it, hold for a breath and then try and come out of the pose smoothly. Yes, very nice. Gorgeous. And release. Well done. So any questions on your dancer's pose? Okay, we haven't prepped for this, but I'm just going to show you just for fun. Full dancer's pose, just so you know, all right? Because that's only half dancer's pose. If we were doing full dancer's pose, I would spend an hour prepping you for it because it's a very, 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 very big back bend. Okay, so that's why I'm not going to throw you into it now because we just did arm balances, which was pretty much the reverse. So maybe on another day you want to try this just for fun if you're a happy back bender and it's something you're interested in doing it. Or maybe you're just like, okay, now you know. I'm going to show you a cool sandal you can make with your strap. Okay, so I place the strap over my ankle and then I'm going to loop between my big toe and second toe, just like we do with sandals, right? So I made the loop like this, Celine. So I made a little, here's the buckle. So I made a small little loop like so. I put my foot through the loop and then through big toe and second toe. It's quite cool. It makes it feel nice and stable so the strap doesn't fall off because you're going to be doing you would be doing some crazy stuff. Okay. Come to the wall because it's a huge back bend as well as a balance. Okay. And then we would take the strap over to create our dancer's shape. So this is why it's so important in half dances that we're emphasizing the lift of the back thigh, right? Because soon you'll be taking both hands back, both arms overhead, and then you would be trying to balance in a very bad back bend and find your back foot, which would require a lot of warming up. Can you see in this pose, there's no leaning forwards. You're actually leaning back. Okay. So that is your full dances. And when you come back and do your 300-hour teacher training with us, we'll go through that a lot. Just so you know the difference for fun. Okay. Any questions before we move on just to some fun poses? So let's flip back to page 61 if you're in your manual. We're going to talk about our Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, which means extended hand to big toe pose. Yes, Candy, that would be a good prep for dancers pose. You've got it. Yeah, totally. And we're going to do that one tomorrow, so yay. Okay, so we're going to talk about Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana on page 61, extended hand to big toe pose. It's not in your assessment, so you don't have to worry about it, okay? We'll just talk about the components of this pose. So where else do we do the similar kind of thing? What does this pose look like?
61.
61. 61. Where else do we? Yes, Belinda?
Seated wide-legged.
Yeah, it looks very similar to a seated wide-legged forward fold. So we're stretching inner thighs, yeah. And even more specifically, where do we hold our foot? Sometimes we use a strap and then open our leg out to the side. We do we do it in any of our sequences? Not really. We'll be learning it tomorrow. You may have done it in a yoga class where you lie on your back in a hamstring stretch, like we do in the forward bend sequence with a strap, and then we open the leg out to the side. Would be exactly the same as this pose, but just lying on your back. If you turn this pose onto its side, okay, so if you swiveled your book, that she was like standing on both feet, and imagine her top arm is up in the air, what does it look like?
Triangle.
Yes, it looks like triangle pose. And if you kept turning her, and her leg that was up in the air, the one that she's holding, if that was on the floor, what does it then look like?
Half moon.
Yes, it looks like half moon pose. So it's a really fun pose to sequence for because there's so many other poses that have the same shapes pretty much directly. So that's what I really love about this pose. So we're stretching hamstrings and inner thighs, and we've taken it to the next level by standing and balancing on one foot, okay? So of course, long hamstrings and inner thighs make this pose much easier. You don't have to worry about this one, it's not in your assessment, but for future, it might be something you want to work towards, okay? So I will show you some options and then we'll try it all together just for fun. Okay, so first of all, I can stand and just have my knee to the chest and then open my leg out to the side. I'm still getting the benefit of balancing on one leg and the external rotation, right? I could also, next level, catch hold of my big toe, but keep my knee bent, right? And then open the leg out to the side. What we don't want, look at the shoulder, is you trying to straighten your leg and your arm pulling out the socket like this. Can you see that? We'd rather keep the shoulder intact, arm in the socket, and chest upright with the bent knee. If you can keep your chest upright and your arm in the socket and straighten your leg, then you would only straighten. Okay. And then you could open that leg out to the side. So in triangle pose, what is this leg doing? What helps to get the leg higher, do you think?
Open the hips.
Natural hips, yeah. What else?
Base
If I
over
take my
rotation.
leg, just stand up for a second, and I open it out to the side, but keep my foot parallel. How high does it go? Not very high, right? But now, if you take your leg out to the side and turn your toes up to the ceiling, so what have you done?
External rotation.
Now try lift your leg up. Yes?
Yeah.
So external rotation, if my leg is up, the more I externally rotate this leg, it's the only way that leg is going to lift. Okay, and makes your leg go higher. Another useful trick, just for fun. I don't know which way is easier to show you. look at here. If I stick my bum out, my leg's going to be lower. If I push my hips forwards in like a thrusting action, my hips go higher. And that also makes this pose a lot easier. So just for future, your tricks are thrust your hips forwards and make sure your leg is externally rotating when it goes out to the side. Do you want to give it a go just for fun? You can have a hand at a wall if you want to just focus on the actions of the pose. Let's come together. Okay, so bring your one knee to your chest, just bend the knee. Hold the knee, place other hand on hip. First option, opening leg out to the side. Okay, that's perfect. You're still doing the pose. Next option, bind your peace fingers, your pointer finger and your middle finger through your big toe and second toe. Is always how we bind, okay? Like that sandal went through the big toe and second toe. Bring your knee into your chest and with the leg bent, open it out to the side. What you want to feel is your arm stays in the socket. Don't let your arm pull out like this. Shoulders intact. And then maybe you want to play with the straight leg. It's extreme pose. It's a very big pose. Thrust your hips forwards. Notice your leg goes higher. And really turn your leg out. Externally rotate. So your knees pointing up to the ceiling or back. Yes, Wilma. Yes. Go for it, Jamie. Yes. So that's it. So what you want to feel, you don't want to leave your bum out in the air. Yeah? The more you can take this bum and tuck it. Okay, here's where I'll use the word tuck. I don't want my bum out here. The more I can thrust my hips forwards and the sensation of tucking, the higher the leg goes. Trying to feel that on the other side just for fun. Yay, see, that leg went really high. So much for short hamstrings, nonsense. Can you feel the thrust helps? Push your hips forwards more, Micah. Yes, sorry, I threw you off there. Yes, Jamie, feel that tuck and your leg goes even higher. Yes. Yes, that's it, Gary. Nice. That's it, Roxy. That's it, Wendy. Nice, Bev. Some really flexy people in this room. Okay, well done. Just for fun. So really fun pose to sequence for. Of course, you would do a whole lot of prep work. You wouldn't just jump into it like we did now, right? What would you stretch? What prep would you do?
Hamstrings.
Hamstrings?
Inner thigh?
And inner thighs. Those are going to be your main thing. Hamstrings and inner thighs. So which poses stretch our hamstrings and inner thighs?
Triangle.
Pyramid,
Yes.
triangle,
Forward fold, sort of.
forward fold, wide-legged forward fold, absolutely. Yes. Remember our kneeling gate pose? You could do this lying on your back with a strap. Half moon pose. Okay. So you're going to start, you're going to talk about it more with Catherine this weekend. You want to start really breaking down the poses into what is happening, what's stretching, like in this instance, it's hamstrings and inner thighs. And then what other places could we teach the binding of the big toe? Where else can we bind our big toe, just for fun?
One-legged forward fold.
Yes? We could fold, do a forward fold and bind our big toes. You could just do a forward fold and bind your big toes. Triangle, you could do with the bind. But also just lying on your back, bind your big toe, take the leg out to the side. Anyway, just thinking about it here. Any questions? Yeah, I'm not even going to ask anymore. So the next pose is basically what we've just done with the legs. Bird of paradise. Exactly the same legs. Yeah? But what else is happening in the shoulders and arms?
Externally rotating.
We've got a bind, and what is this front arm doing? It's actually doing the opposite.
Internal rotation.
Internal rotation. Okay, which as we know now can be quite tough for our shoulders. And why would it be extra tough in this pose? So we've internally rotated, and then what are we doing with it?
Load.
Yes, load. You've got the load of your heavy leg on your poor shoulder. Okay, so it's a tough pose. It's a tough pose. You want to have fairly happy shoulders and fairly flexy legs to even attempt it, right? But we'll discuss it because it's a fun pose. Okay. All right, so bird of paradise. I'll show you, and then you can do it just for fun. There's no pressure. This is not in your assessment. We're just going through some bigger poses. Okay. Okay, still big. Okay, cool. So when I come into bird of paradise, what pose do you think you come from?
Extended side angle.
Yeah, extended side angle pose. So I'll come from my side angle pose. I'm going to circle my top hand behind me, and then my bottom hand is going to come around. So I've got a bind at the back, holding hands. Okay. The trick with this pose, I see a lot of people land up, but you get your hands too low. I don't have long arms, so I don't think I can do it. But you get your hands around your groins. Don't do that. Try and keep your elbow behind your knee. Okay? So you're binding more towards the knee and less towards your groin is helpful, because now I'm going to step my back foot in. Sometimes in the studio, you'll step to the front of the mat. And now, because I've kept my knee and my elbow together, it's helped to keep my knee closer towards me. And then you could extend it out if you wanted to. Another way you could quickly bang into this pose is with feet hip distance apart. I can bind around the one leg, shift my weight over. I'm nudging my elbow into the back of my knee to keep my knee more upright. If my hands are down here, I can't even do it. But if my hand is lower down, it's much harder. So that is my tip of the day for bird of paradise. You can watch, or you can give it a go if you want to try it just for fun. Okay, take a big step into side angle pose.
Not today.
Just explore it. Okay, it's just for fun. From side angle, you're going to take your top hand around your back and your bottom hand underneath your thigh. Okay, so just if you're not sure, bottom hand goes underneath your thigh, top hand goes behind. Keep your knee and your elbow connected is my tip. Step your back foot in. So now you put your weight on your back foot, which is tricky. Focus, drishti. Weight is on your back foot as you come up to standing. Find your balance there. Can you feel your shoulders in a bit of a dodge position there? It will be giving you a little bit of feedback. Good, Michelle, just watch. That's wise. Just watch the crazy ones. Wow, Sunchi, that was amazing. And then maybe that leg straightens. Can you feel by keeping your knee closer to your shoulder, your leg goes higher? And that really, really helps. I've had a lot of people come to me with this pose and go, why can't my legs straighten? Yes, Belinda. Nice, Monica. And then land that with control. Step your foot down. Step your standing leg back into side angle. And then inhale, come up, maybe with a little reverse warrior and feel it on the other side. Maybe just switch your feet to the other side. That's it, Cynthia. Nice. Find your drishti as you shift your weight. Pick the leg up. Keep the knee tight into your waist, tight towards your side. Once you've got your balance, kick it out. Kick it out, kick it out, kick it out. Nice, Cynthia. Yes, beautiful. That's it, Wilma. That's it, Gary. Once you've got your balance, kicking the leg out. Of course, long hamstrings and inner thighs help to straighten that leg, but not important. Yes, Chloe. Gorgeous. Wow. And then you try and land these fancy poses with the yoga poker face, right? That you're not dying on the inside. You know the face. Yes. Now, what action with the hips would help get your leg higher that we felt in the previous pose?
Opening them. External rotation.
Yes, external rotation and
Thrusting the hip.
thrusting the hips. It helps to take the leg higher. That's it, Wendy. Now thrust the hips. Yes, you did it nice. Can you feel your shoulder? You got to listen to that. So ideally you want to feel strong in your legs, that your legs are strong and holding themselves to a certain degree, and you're not killing your poor shoulder. That's it, Lynn. Okay, just for fun. And even just picking that leg up in a bind is a big achievement. It's a hard pose. Okie dokie. So we'll do one more silly pose. Then you've learned all the balances, including some of the advanced ones that you don't need to know for your assessment, but are cool to know for future. So we're going to discuss on page 63. We're going to discuss lotus a little bit. Okay, so this is a really crazy pose. They do it in the Ashtanga primary series. Basically, it's one-legged lotus with a forward fold, and it's a bind. So, I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's definitely not something you teach your beginners. Okay, so let's talk a little just about lotus. I'll touch on it and we'll talk about it again later on. Lotus, what are your feelings around lotus pose? Is it good for us? Is it bad for us? What are its benefits? Who can do lotus? Who wouldn't do lotus? Have you tried lotus? How does it feel?
Occasionally.
Probably avoid lotus if you've got knee problems.
Absolutely, Jamie.
Problems.
So right, Jamie. And why? Why would it be bad for your knees? Jamie, do you want to elaborate a little bit?
I think because of the rotation.
And where should the rotation be happening from? Where do we externally rotate from?
The hip.
The hip. Absolutely. And why would the rotation be a bad thing for the knee?
I think it puts pressure on the lateral ligaments.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yes, absolutely. So if we don't rotate from our hip, or if someone has limited rotation from the hip, so someone has tight hips, their legs don't open very wide in butterfly, then their hip kind of stops here, and then it encourages rotation to happen at the knee, which we don't want, because does our knee rotate? It has a little bit of play, but we shouldn't really mess with that. Okay, so lotus is not a good hip opener because you already need open hips in order to do it. It's for those type of people that sit in Baddha Konasana with their knees flat on the floor. Okay, those are the only type of people that it could be safer for. There's no benefit to doing lotus. What do you think the benefit would be?
Look good.
it's more of a look thing, right? Because people just imagine yoga, sitting in lotus in the meditation. Promise you, if you try to meditate with your legs in lotus, you'll cry because it's really uncomfortable. Okay, so if your hips are very, very comfortable, you can see Nicole B here. If you don't mind, Nicole, she's just whacked herself into lotus. Okay, so I've spotlighted you, Nicole. So Nicole, she's probably got very open hips because she's sitting there comfortably and both knees are on the floor. Nicole, can you sit in Baddha Konasana, butterfly, slowly release out of that and then come to butterfly pose. Can you see in butterfly, her knees are on the floor? Okay. So just as I was saying, Nicole's got really open hips. It's not really to do with sometimes flexibility, or your muscles at all. It can just be with your bone structure. You guys saw that anatomy video where Catherine touched on the bone structure in the hips. Do you remember that? So what did you see with that? Chloe, you... Okay. Yes. So people have different shaped sockets, right? So for Nicole, her socket probably points a little bit more to the side. I'm just assuming, I don't know. Okay, just these are those types of people that sit like that. So when she opens her leg out, there's no ball hitting the socket and stopping her. Okay? So who's the opposite? Who feels like their hips are maybe tighter, but they're probably not? Because anyone want to be an example of the other? Okay, so for me, my knees don't sit flat on the floor, okay? So if I go into Baddha Konasana, I'm gonna work for it. Can you see? They're not flat. What I can do though, can you see I'm working from my ankles to get my legs down. So for me, even lotus isn't an ideal position for me. One-legged lotus is okay, but two-legged lotus, I know I'm pushing it. And often I feel my knees a bit afterwards, and I do it maybe once a year, and that's it, because I know it's not good for me. Even though it's fun to do big poses in lotus, it's not ideal for most of us. Okay, so I'm just putting that out there. We'll discuss it more. Half lotus is a little bit better than full lotus because I don't have the weight of my second leg pushing my other knee down. Okay. So it's something we should be very mindful of doing in our own bodies, and something I wouldn't recommend you go out and teach unless you're teaching very advanced practitioners. Okay, so something not even to worry about. I will show you, if it's something silly that you want to do, how to do it with a little bit more awareness, because you're going to do it. I know you will. Right? You won't listen to me and not do it. I know you won't. So when I enter lotus, there is a safer way of doing it. And one leg is much safer than two legs because you don't have load pushing the bottom knee down. Does that make sense? Okay. So just to emphasize that, if I was coming into lotus, okay, and my knee was hovering off the floor over here, can you see me? Yeah. I would never go and take my other leg and put it on top. Because what would happen? I'm going to push down here. My hip is stopped. And then I'm going to be forcing it down. And my knee is going to torque. Okay. And we don't want that. If someone comes into lotus very comfortably and their knee is flat on the floor, less of a problem. Okay. But it's something you're going to be so careful about. You wouldn't want to hurt someone's knee and potentially hurt it for like a very bad knee injury for a long period of time. You know how you wouldn't feel very nice. Okay? So when we enter lotus pose, do it with caution and don't force your knees. If you feel your knee, back off. Okay, I've warned you enough now. I won't nag you. So when we move into this silly standing pose, what helps to keep our knee a little bit safer, that we're trying not to torque at the knee, but we're trying to move more from the top of the hip socket, okay? What it can be helpful is bringing your leg into a full bend position. So hip flexion, knee flexion, and I'm going to flex my ankle. So what I've done here is I've tried to fold my leg into a very compact little unit. Okay? So that when I move my leg into lotus, it's encouraging more of the movement to happen from my hip and less from the knee. Okay. Even still, then you've got to be mindful. Okay. So when we go into stupid lotus pose, it's better to come from bending the knee in tightly like this. So I've made it compact. My shin and my thigh are squeezing together to try and keep my knee from twisting, basically. So that when I move my leg into lotus pose, I'm trying to move it from my hip and not by twisting the knee. Is a safer way to move into the pose. But now when I bring my other leg on top, I don't have that luxury. Okay. It's a much bigger discussion and we'll go into it a little bit more at a later stage. Basically, that's why I'm going to come into this next pose, Ardha Baddha Padmottanasana, by bending my knee in first. Moving into lotus in a compact, safer way. Okay. From here, the higher your foot is in lotus, the easier it is to bind your other. Take my right hand back and binding my foot. If you have very long arms, that's not going to be a problem, okay? I hold my big foot, my big toe rather. I'm moving gently forwards into a forward fold. Okay. Trying to keep the extension of the bottom leg, a little bend is also fine, and releasing the head. When I come out of the pose, it's helpful to bend the bottom leg like a little squat, to rise up and release. Okay. So, I don't know if I maybe scared you of doing silly poses. Good. If you're still feeling silly and want to try, I won't stop you. Maybe some of us can just watch you. If you sit comfortably, your hips feel very open, you love lotus because you have happy knees and hips, maybe you want to try. If not, we'll watch. So since she's going to go for it over here, I'm going to spotlight you. There you are. So her foot has come up nice and high into the hip and she's forward folding. She's got a bind very comfortably. She's very flexy. She's a dancer, so you know. Then when she comes up, she's going to bend her bottom leg like a little bit of a squat just to assist in the balance, to inhale, rise back up to standing, release the bind, release the leg, release. Thank you. When she comes into lotus on the other side, are you doing the other side too? Hug your knee into your chest safely. Don't just whack into it. Although look at her hips, she's very comfortable. And then coming down. So we'll talk more about lotus at a later stage. I have more to say on it about ways of entering and what is helpful and where we use it. But for now, bringing the knee into the chest and slowly moving the leg as a unit into lotus is a safer way to move in and out of the pose. How did that feel, Jamie? There, you went for it too.
Very nice.
We've seen Jamie move before. She's got loads of mobility. And Mika, I mean, how do you feel as a bio about silly poses like lotus? So it's not just me.
Yeah, I'm also not the biggest fan of it, just because I've been in a lot of yoga classes and people complain a lot, but then still go into the pose and I'm like, I'm very much listen to your body. If you're feeling that pain, stop.
Yes.
Yeah. But people still push themselves and try and maneuver it. I'm just like, oh, please don't.
It's scary to watch people force themselves into silly poses like lotus, where it's like,
yeah,
if it's not good, don't do it. Don't hurt your knees. Knees are one of those things, right? We don't want to mess with knees.
Yeah, no, it's a lifetime of trying to fix it once your knees go.
Yes. So heed the warning. Take a very clever buyer's advice. Lifetime of knee things to fix if you hurt them. I always say if you feel your knees, back off. You shouldn't feel your knees. Okay, and Jamie and Cinchi going into that pose, they're not feeling their knees because they have such huge range of movement from their hips. Okay, so for them, less of an issue. For normal bodies, can be a very, very big issue. Okay, never force knees. They don't come back after you've hurt them. Okay, any other questions? My zombie yogis. Let's do a little flow through the twisting poses and then I'll let you go a bit earlier because I don't think I'll get much out of you guys this evening. One more flow through the standing twists, ending of the bang. Okay, so I will do a quick demo and then you'll flow through it as well, and then we'll just check if we have any last questions. So when we move through our standing twist, the ones you'll have in your assessment, you're going to do a twist in a low lunge, okay? So we haven't really broken it down, but you're going to basically come into a lunge, arms up, hands to the center of the chest, feel the hook. Once we've got the hook, what do we do with our chest?
Turn over.
Lift. Lift.
Lift and lean the chest back. What do we want to do with our shoulders when we twist?
Down the back.
A little bit down, a little bit down. So we're not like this. So you have to emphasize shoulders moving away from ears. Okay. So we'll do twist in a low lunge. We'll also do twist in a high lunge. Okay. Which is kind of like revolved side angle pose. You can keep hands in prayer. In this pose, what is the key to allowing the twist? You've seen in a picture with that. What happens if your back foot is down?
You can't twist.
Can you see? You need to be on the ball of the back foot to allow what to move with you?
Your hips.
Your hips. Your hips need to move with you in the twist. So we'll do a twist and a high lunge as well. Okay? And then you also have a twist, which is not in your assessment. Revolved triangle pose. Again, back foot. If my back heel is down, can't turn. If you're doing a revolved triangle, we come from a pyramid pose and we open it up. To advance the pose, you can have your hand on the outside of the ankle. You could also step in a little bit if you wanted a little bit more stability from the back foot. Okay. And we got a twist in chair pose. Yep. So let's flow through twisted low lunge, twisted high lunge, and twisted chair pose, which are the ones in your assessment. So when you are ready, standing at the top of the mat, Tadasana, we'll flow from the top. Ready? Inhale, arms up, Hastasana. Exhale, slow forward fold all the way down. Hands to shins, halfway lift. Hands to the mat, step or jump back, plank. No one jumping tonight. And pressing back, downward facing dog. Ah, oh, Roxy, yay, she's got some energy left. Don't hang in your shoulders in down dog. Right leg up, three-legged dog. Step forwards between your hands. Lower left knee down. Inhale, arms up. Low lunge, arms up. Anjaneyasana. Hands to heart center. Twist towards which leg always?
Front.
Front leg always. Hook. And then once you've got your hook, lean your shoulders back. Draw your hands towards the middle of the chest. Draw the shoulder blades down a little. Keeps your front knee stacked over ankle. So Gudrun, lunge a little deeper.
Yes. Inhale, arms up. Hands back to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Left leg up, three-legged dog. Stepping forwards between the hands. Low lunge, back knee down. Inhale, arms up. Hands to the center of the chest. Twist towards the front leg, always. Hook. Then lean shoulders back. Draw hands to the center of the chest. Yes, lengthen the spine and twist. Keep lunging in that front knee. Lunge forwards, yes. Arms up, inhale. Release hands down, step back, down dog. Good, next we'll feel that in our high lunge. Inhale, arms up. Right leg up. Step forwards for high lunge. Inhale, arms up. Hands to the center of the chest. Twist towards the right, hooking left elbow to right outer thigh. See, you need to twist to your front leg. Left elbow hooks to right outer thigh. Lean head back, twist chest open, shoulders gently down. Renee, try and get more of your elbow hooked. Hook your shoulder deeper. Release when you're ready through high lunge back to down dog. Deeper hook, Renee. Yes. Good, that's it. Lean your head back a little more, Renee. There, better. And onto the left side. Left leg up, three-legged dog. Stepping forwards, high lunge. Arms up, inhale. Hands to center of the chest. Take a twist to the left side. Hook right elbow to left outer thigh. Lean head back, twist chest open. Keep your back leg strong and straight. Good. Back leg straight, Celine. Back leg straight, 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 straight. Arms up, high lunge. Release back, downward facing dog. Walk, step, or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Hands to heart center, twist to the right, hook your elbow to the outer thigh. Lengthen your spine. Lean the shoulders back, twist chest open. Inhale through the center, twist and hook to the other side. Good, sit low. Lean head back, shoulders down, especially that top shoulder. Twist, twist, twist. And release, arms up, high mountain. And release, Tadasana, mountain pose. And just roll out your shoulders, release and soften. Good, this is the last workout for the evening. Let me know if you have any questions regarding those twists. Belinda.
I know you said to lean back so that your chest can open, but you keep talking about pushing your hands to the center of your chest. Explain that.
Okay, it is tricky, Belinda, and it does depend on your body as well. So it's kind of going to be an individual thing. But basically what happens and why I cued is to hook, we kind of lean forwards like this, right? Then we round it and we're leaning forwards. Then once you've got your hook, I encourage you to lean back, okay? Just to bring your head back in line with your pelvis, your spine. And then from here, I'm gonna push my bottom arm into my thigh. And as I do that, I'm getting more twist in my chest to bring the hands towards the center of the chest, okay? Not everyone will have their hands directly in the center of the chest, but we are emphasizing that little push. So we're not sinking here in this bottom shoulder, that we're actually pushing down through that elbow to actually bring that, also that shoulder away from your ear. And then your hands do come closer towards center. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions on these twists? Okay. Do you all understand? Did you all receive your time slots for your asana review with me, your pose review? You know what time you're seeing me, either tomorrow or Sunday. You also received the Zoom link for that session. Okay, so you've got everything you need for that. Celine.
I don't know. I hope I don't miss this instruction. But what is everybody else supposed to do in that time when somebody else is having a pose review?
You won't be meeting with me. You can be practicing your poses. So if you're meeting me on Saturday, you will see me mid-morning, and then you won't see me on Sunday. So if you're not seeing me on Sunday morning, you have time to practice your poses that you've done, catch up on any homework you need to do, anything else that you need to do. You have videos to watch for Catherine on that Sunday. So hopefully you've watched that. If you hadn't already, you've got that time slot, Celine, because I'm sure I'm seeing you tomorrow morning, hey? Because you see, okay. So you've got time to please practice your poses. So I'll probably give you corrections tomorrow, Celine. On Sunday, you can go and practice those poses. Okay, it's just because we all have to see each other in smaller groups, so you will not be with us live throughout the day, but you'll be coming back in the afternoons always, either for philosophy and meditation, or you'll be doing anatomy with Catherine, and Sunday we'll be doing more stuff in the evening. Okay. Any other questions?
Can I ask my question again about?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes, Belinda?
About halfway lift.
Yes.
So I know you said you usually do it on the way up and the way down.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yet sometimes I noticed we didn't do it on the way up, we only did it on the way down.
So sometimes it depends on the sequence, Belinda, like whatever poses you're moving into. But if you're doing, so Belinda's question was over the week in a sun salutation, you do a halfway lift when you come up again. Okay, so last little one, please, arms up, forward fold. I do a halfway lift on my way down. I'm doing a basic one. And then I do a halfway lift on my way up again as well. Okay, and you'll see that Belinda will do it exactly like that tomorrow. When we warm up with our sun salutations, without adding poses, we'll do it exactly like that. So, okay,
thank you.
Cool. Roxy?
Yeah, sorry, it's just about the time slots. I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. So if I look at my time slots, I've got on Sunday, it's 12:30. Yes. So does that mean tomorrow I will only join at, what, 3 p.m.?
Tomorrow morning, you will be with me from 10 till 12. We'll be doing back bends. I'll send you a Zoom link this evening. Then you'll have a little gap and you'll be joining for dose for philosophy at 3:30, I think the time is.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll just have a little bit of a longer break there in between.
So I still have the 10 to 12 tomorrow. Okay, fine.
You still have 10 to 12 tomorrow in the morning with me, and then you'll have the afternoon with Firdaus, 3:30 till 6. And then on Sunday, those will be meeting me for the pose review. Those that aren't on Sunday morning, you'll be meeting Catherine. What's the new time say? I said 2 or 2:30 or something. Okay.
So, okay, fine. So then on Sunday, I start at 12:30. So there's nothing prior to that.
Correct.
Is there? Okay, fine.
Okay,
cool. Thank you.
Cool. You'll also get sent your Zoom links for each of those sessions along the way.
So, sorry, Laura, can I just clarify that? Did you say there's nothing on Sunday morning then? Because I might be in the same group. I'm not sure.
So, Michelle, you will have a session on Sunday morning. You will be joining us. Michelle, you will be in at 11:15 till 12:15 on Sunday morning. You won't have a session earlier than that, and then you'll meet back with Catherine's session, which I said was...
Whatever time, I see, yes.
Whatever time it was. Catherine's session starts at 2 o'clock on Sunday. You will all be back then.
But my first session on Sunday is at 11:15.
Correct.
I've got the morning practice. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So please make sure when you join your slots for those. Okay. But I'll see you all tomorrow at 10 o'clock till 12 o'clock.
Thank you.
And then whatever. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Laura,
Yes.
are you able to do splits because your feet don't touch the ground when you were saying
Not
when you were in
side
butterfly?
splits.
I mean,
Front splits
Okay.
fine, but not open splits.
that's just because of your hip socket.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so anybody might be able to do the front splits, but it depends on the hip sockets for that side split.
It also depends sometimes with front and back splits on the hip sockets as well, because sometimes some people might be restricted having their leg in front of them. So not always. It's not always so straightforward because everyone is so different. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Have a lovely evening. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.